Watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Woo! Welcome back to another episode of the Trap or Die podcast, provided to you by 214 Media. I'm your host, Molly Mo. AJ's in, Dre is in. It has been a little minute. We took a little week off. Not intentionally, you know what I'm saying? Which things could have been better, but at least we got to avoid talking about one loss. But then we come back to one of the worst losses that you can take all season, given the situation that they had in front of them. The Commanders fall to 1-4. 21-17 to the Tennessee Titans. We were talking off before we got on, AJ, and Ron Rivera was speaking in the moment in which we were setting up for the show. I'm gonna check in with everybody now. I see some of the comments right now. Hey, Hawk, I see you, big dog. Let me go ahead and move this thing till Drake gets situated. What's going on, Hawk? Appreciate you checking in. He said, I know Ryan can breathe now. That's a fact. Ryan was at the game. Ryan was at the game too. He said he was nervous as hell. He said he
Yeah, we having some technical difficulties.
all right. I don't know what just happened then with the mic.
Yeah, we Gucci.
So I'm good now?
Yeah.
That was weird as hell. Okay. So let me go ahead and check in with you. Like I said, I ain't gonna repeat everything I just said. I was just saying how you was doing before we got into the gangs. I know you took a vacation. Yeah, I know you took a vacation as well, or a trip. So how you doing, man? And then let's talk about this game.
I'm good, man. This game was a snooze fest. But, at the end of the day, the result that I expected, it ended the way that I expected in that crunch moment. Like my name says, he is who he is. And that goes for a lot of people on this team and staff. He is who he is.
Dre, how you feeling today? I mean, it's been a week since we talked, fellas. On the show, man. I think what's more important is how we're living. How's our health? Because clearly, Washington is adding very little value to the things that we got going on our Sundays. But Dre, how you feeling?
Hey, I'm embracing the tank now, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm all for it. Like I said on Twitter before someone
Dre,
stupidly,
who they picking with the number one pick?
Hey, I mean, they're going to have to get a quarterback. I mean, because if they get the number one pick, Ron's ass better be out of here. The whole staff better be out of here. So whoever you get to come in here, they get to pick their new quarterback. And that'll be the first time that has ever happened here. So
it's so weird, like the way this thing unfolded, because there was several different narratives playing out all at once. You go from William Jackson III being benched to the pressure on the defense and Montez Sweat coming alive. 3 sacks on the day? Let me double check just to make sure, but I think he had 3 sacks, if not 2 for sure. 2 on the day. Again, like I said, defense just coming alive. Another day in which there were no turnovers, unfortunately, but that continued. Brian Robinson came back, not very impressive in his debut. I mean, for obvious reasons, but also from a fact that they couldn't establish anything on the ground. Carson Wentz bouncing back. De'Ami Brown, contextually speaking, before the last draft. Carson Wentz bouncing back. De'Ami Brown coming alive in a situation that, he had to step up in the absence of Jahan Dotson. And for all of the information that I'm telling you right now, this was probably the worst, the worst way in which you can lose, fellas. So I'm going to just hand it off to you with everything within context of that being said. And obviously the Titans doing a good job of really just executing in critical situations as well. I'm going to hand the floor over to whoever wants to go first and overall thoughts on how this game transpired.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, like I said, it was a snooze fest. Overall, we watched 2 offenses with poor offensive line play. A lot of things happened in the game that, as a Washington fan, you've kind of been accustomed to seeing from the team since week 1. Just overall, I guess maybe I'm a bit confused by the William Jackson III benching, because I don't remember seeing a play where he executed poorly to where you would say, yeah, let's bench him. This staff is so weird, man. I really don't get it. There's so many other players on this team that should be getting benched, and I really don't think William Jackson III should be getting benched. I think he's a really good player, just with the wrong system in place and coaching staff. I feel like every reason that they brought him in, they never utilized him in that way. They've asked him to do so much.
You good, AJ? If you're talking, you want me? Okay.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
You good? Go ahead.
I think that they brought him in to. I thought that they brought him in to be a press man corner, and they completely changed who he is as a player. And if you're gonna bench your $14 million corner week 5 into a season where you 1-3, I think that even just speaks more volumes on the coaching staff overall, how they are poorly preparing these guys, and also everything that they're doing overall is not clicking with the team. But offensively, man, play calling, Scott Turner is who he is, trash. I've been saying that. Been saying that from day one. Last year, a lot of people was like, oh, he doesn't have a quarterback. He doesn't have a quarterback, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now he got a guy, right? A guy that's better than Heineke, and you still saying the same trash. It's just, at this point, man, if you're a Washington Commanders fan, start looking at mock drafts, start looking at PFF mock drafts, Walter Football, Mel Kiper, maybe go ahead, get a subscription to ESPN Plus, get some insider tips on who maybe they might pick with the number 1 pick, because after today, I don't have them beating Chicago on Thursday either. I really don't. So your next winnable game might be Houston. That might be a battle for number 1. Outside of that, this team is not winning no other games.
Hey, Dre, I asked AJ, I think it was before the show started. Matter of fact, it was before the show started, so I want to get both y'all opinion. And obviously, Dre, I want to get your take on the game too, overall points of the game. But I want to ask this question first. I didn't feel confident at the 2-yard line that they was going to get the ball in the end zone. Something felt off, or 1-yard line, whatever, 1 or 2, whatever it was. Something felt off, and I felt because they didn't have any timeouts, they were relegated to running the football only on 4th down. That was the only option that they had if they wanted to run the football is 4th down, because at this point you have no timeouts. Obviously, leading into that defensive pass interference, you have a false starter or whatever the call was, in a bad, poorly executed motion, whatever happened. It was a penalty. You hurt yourself. You lose a timeout. You also lose clock in between those plays where, clock is melting down and you're essentially just taking your time getting the ball off in terms of snaps. Ultimately, my point is when they got down into that red zone, they got down inside the 5. I wasn't confident because, again, something fell off. And when you have those 3 plays where you have to pass it on your first 3 downs, I don't know. I just had zero confidence. So I'm gonna bring it to you all. How did you all feel at the 2-yard line? I'm not saying you all can completely disagree with me and thought that we were gonna get the ball in the end zone. And let me know, chat, how did you all feel when they got the defensive pass interference? Because one of my friends who was at the game, Ryan, who's on the all 32 side, he thought the game was over, and he's a Titans fan, so he thought it was over. But that's another perspective. How did you all feel about that?
I mean, initially I was optimistic that they would do something because I was like, oh shit, we got the ball on the 1 or 2 yard line off the pass interference. But then I thought about it, I said, oh yeah, they don't have any timeouts, so running the ball is a little tricky here. But I still thought they could have ran on first down. I mean, you run on first down, you don't get it, you hurry up back to the line, you spike it real quick, you got third down, and then you can make a decision to do something else. And Titans were clearly playing the pass. Like that whole goal line series, they just dropped everyone in coverage. Like they weren't playing to run at all. So, even when you saw that on first down, with Scott Turner being in the booth now, Scott Turner could have adjusted and said, hey, these guys aren't playing to run at all. They're playing, straight coverage. Let's sneak the ball in right here. But they went and called the same play like 3 times in a row. And then the couple of contested passes he throws to J.D. McKissick, I'm like, dude, you have, a big tight end and Cole Turner, even John Bates, and you got Terry McLaurin over there. Look for them. And it looked like Carson's primary receiver each play was J.D. McKissick, and he's just sitting right there, barely on the goal, like barely in the end zone. So even if he caught those passes, I'm not even sure he would have got the ball over the plane. I mean, he was fucking smothered, and Carson just stared him down. So I lost confidence the more, like after that first down, I was like, I don't think they're going to get this. And sure enough, they didn't get it.
AJ?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've never had confidence. I didn't even think about it. Like I said, I know we had a week off, but I think the last time we really talked, I said that they were going to lose to Tennessee. Like, I didn't have confidence. I mean, I feel like that penalty was a big help to them. But I don't know Scott Turner enough to be innovative to help get that ball across the line with no timeouts left. Or was it just one timeout? I think it might have been no timeouts, right? It was 13 seconds, no timeouts.
Yeah. To the DPI, after the DPI, they didn't have any timeouts. They were forced to burn one after a penalty or something like that. I can't remember. So they had none.
Yeah. I don't know him to be that innovative to be able to create in that space. I also seen Carson Wentz play against his defense twice last year with the Colts, and seeing how he messed up, in the red zone as well. I just knew that somebody would make a play on the ball because once you condense the field for him, man, he struggles. He struggles reading defenses. So you just knew that something was going to happen. I actually tweeted interception loading before the interception happened because
it's crazy to play before it too, though. AJ, I'm sitting here remembering he almost threw a pick trying to throw the ball away. That was so crazy.
Yeah, that was almost if whoever that was had better ball skills, that could have easily been a pick to end the game right there. Like, dude he's just not it. And it's like at the end of the day, I knew it was gonna happen. And I feel like Scott Turner did him no favors. I feel like the position that they were at, that was a perfect attempt to use Antonio Gibson to just jump over the damn line. Just give him the ball and just jump. And if you can't get over that, you still got enough time to spike the ball. Like, you could have did jet sweep to Curtis Samuel, thrown it all off, like something. You could have ran the ball there. You didn't have to throw. But
I don't know about that one, bro. It ain't that much time.
13 seconds with a jet sweep, you could have got back to the line and spiked the ball, bro. Like, if you don't get there, at least
but why waste
either your man's gonna get tackled inbounds or he's gonna be able to run out of bounds. 13 seconds is a lot of time at the 1 yard line.
All right, but if you don't get it, like you're talking about either having to call another play, which is okay. You probably have to call 2 plays in the huddle. Okay, if you want to do that, but alternatively speaking, like it is like still with 3 downs, I'm not trying to waste it down, spiking it. Like I don't want to spike the football on when we need to maximize all 4 downs. Like I can't do that.
Hey man, you better do something. Either way, you lost the damn game.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's almost has a point anyway.
You lost the game anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like you might as well try something. I mean, you just got to understand, like, yo, when I simplify things in this part of the field for my quarterback, he's going to be more susceptible to throwing into double coverage. Like he's not one of those tight window passers. Like you just seen it last week when they played Dallas. Try to throw it in the tight window to Curtis Samuel, and it got picked, right? Like he's just not one of those guys, and I mean that's how I feel about it. At the end of the day, I didn't really have any confidence that they would go in there and score, and if they did score, I didn't feel confident about them stopping them if Tennessee got the ball back. But I mean, yeah, man, it's just a poorly coached team. Like you're seeing from top to bottom, it's a poorly coached team.
Dre, let's get your thoughts on the game. I know I start off with that question. So what's your thoughts on the game? And then we'll get into a couple of specifics here and a very, very, very wild way to lose a goddamn football game. Floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, the offense, they just still, I mean, they did better than the last couple of weeks, but it's just still not good enough. They're just still not playing good enough football, to win you games. I mean, the defense, quiet as it's kept the last 3 weeks, they've been playing like the best unit on the team, which was kind of surprising given how the first couple of weeks went. But even still, my big issue, and it happened in this game again, they're not forcing turnovers. I mean, Montez Sweat finally had a big game, which was good. And we got to shout him out because, we've been kind of giving him a little bit of flack lately. And he finally made an impact in that first half. I think games like today is a game where Montez Sweat should be routine. Like these type of games should be routine for a guy with his talent. But you're still not forcing turnovers. Like, I mean, this is we have 1 forced turnover all year. That was the first game of the season, last play of the game. So, offense, they're not making enough, they're not doing enough to score. I mean, they did have a couple of explosive plays today, which is good. That's what this offense needs more of because they're not disciplined enough to play chunk football. Every time they play chunk football, you get a false start or a holding call, and it just ruins the drive. They can't make up the ground that they lose for those yards. So that's the issue. You see that it was in this game, and that's how they almost won this game was the explosive plays. So the offense probably needs more of that, but they just need to be more disciplined. But that comes back to coaching. You just see it over and over, week in and week out, which is why I'm just completely off of this staff. It's like I'm seeing the same mistakes year 3 that I saw in year 1. Year 1, you can kind of fool me and say, yeah, we're having growing pains and, it doesn't happen overnight. Sure, I can buy that. Year 2, I'm like, all right, I can still buy it a little bit more. But year 3, when you still look, matter of fact, year 3, they've regressed. Like this team has regressed. Like, I mean, weekly, you're just seeing it that they're just not, a team that looks like they're getting better in any kind of way. That's why I don't really have faith for the rest of the season. Like they're 1-4 now. To me, the season's over. And like I said, you just see no discipline between the offense and the defense. Jack Del Rio, his unit, they'll have a play like the last week, two turnovers, 2 penalties. This week, I think there was a situation where the Titans, I don't remember if they got off the field or not, but the Titans had like a big holding call or something, but then we get a holding call. It's like, no one's playing disciplined football on either side. Special teams, again, Dax Milne just not it back there. Like Dax Milne, and it's like they don't want to admit it. They're going to just keep putting them back there. I mean, whether it's kickoff returns, punt returns,
he is horrible.
He does nothing. Yeah, he does nothing with it on, that side of the football. So it's like, you are just putting yourself behind the 8 ball in so many ways on all 3 units of the football field. Like I see, even when one unit finally plays good, no one can play cohesive. Like today, one of the maddening things that I watched today, and it was pissing me off, it was like, finally, when the offense is not boring and stagnant, they score. Tennessee scores right back. I mean, the defense is holding them for the most of the game. They're sacking Tannehill, but then the offense comes out and scores, and guess what? The defense has to give up a score. And Tennessee doesn't score anymore for the rest of the game. It's like Tennessee was like, I'm only going to score when you score. But that just goes to show that none of these units are just playing collective football. Like when the offense scores, why can't the defense come out and say, hey, well, we got to make a big stop here, because the offense did their thing. Nope, that just doesn't happen with this team. When the defense makes big stops, the offense just runs stagnant. So nothing seems to just be coordinated with this team. And like you said, it just all comes back to coaching for me.
Let's go ahead and catch up on some of the comments because Alex brought up a good point about William Jackson. And then third downs as well. So the first thing is we can talk about William Jackson third, which is actually pretty interesting. I'm reading some of the quotes coming from the reporters. So Alex in the chat mentioned the third got benched after he made a poor tackle. Was in the presser or from the reporters, they're saying what's going on. William Jackson III said he got benched or he sat because he didn't have a disc issue in his back since like week 2 or week 3, and it's been bothering him for a while, and it's been displayed. And Ron Rivera in his presser said that they benched William Jackson because they decided to make a change. Nothing about his back and all those things. So the connect and all that is obviously the injury issue, and that's the player clearly protecting himself. Who knows what the truth is? I think I know what the truth is, and that's he asked, but William Jackson has to try and find himself. So it is what it is right there. But then secondly, obviously, if you all want to comment on the discrepancy between coach and player, we can. But then secondly, the biggest things that's hurting Washington today is dealing with obviously penalties, 9 penalties for 71 yards. Then you have 0 for 1 in the red zone. And we know that the last red zone attempt was the interception with Carson Wentz, but 0 for 1 in the red zone, meaning no trips in there before the last drive. And then thirdly, 1 for 11 on third down, with your last or your first third down conversion coming on the last drive of the game for the Washington Commanders. Obviously, on fourth down, one of your fourth down gas drive as well. So, fellas, conversions, penalties, coaching, clock management was a problem as well. We're looking at 2-minute situations in the first half and in the second half, hurting these guys once again. I don't know what the hell they were doing in that first half. Timeout with 54 seconds left on second and goal, and you don't call that. You go into the half with two timeouts left. It's a lot going on. Y'all talked about coaching, man, but it's going off about this. And then the challenge with Cam Sims on the sideline. Like, who convinced you to call the challenge, throw the challenge flag in the situation where you have somebody telling you, why would you throw something like that, knowing that was
he might be the worst challenger in the NFL. He might be when it comes to challenging plays, it's either he doesn't know when to challenge or he doesn't know what's not a challenge or what you should challenge. And I just don't get it at this point. It's also kind of coupling in with his clock management skills or lack thereof as well.
Yeah, I mean, Kanye made waves this week saying white lives matter. Nah, coaching matters. Like, coaching matters, man. Like, Ron already doesn't do anything during games anyways. So the fact that you can't even manage the fucking clock, you can't manage your challenges, it's like, what are you good for? Like, you're useless, bro. Like, like, in African terms, we'd be sucking our teeth at Ron Rivera all game, bro. We just get out of here, bro. Like, you just shit. Like you just ass, bro. Like, at the end of the day, that's why we're gonna hear about this William Jackson demotion more and more throughout the week. But it's like, you can't be out here demoting guys like that when Bobby McCain should be demoted. Cole Holcomb should be demoted. Andrew Norwell should be demoted. Your damn OC should be demoted. Dax Millen, however you say his damn name, like, he should be demoted. Like, you got too many players on this team that play like ass.
Can y'all hear me? My bad.
Yes.
I just changed my microphone shit. All right, bet.
Yeah, you got way too many players on this team that play like ass on a regular basis to be out here demoting William Jackson III, who is one of your higher paid players. Yeah, I understand that some people don't want certain guys to be playing because maybe they make a certain amount of money, but this is somebody we've seen throughout their NFL career be a solid ass corner, bro. Like, this is not somebody that was shit. Like, he literally came to Washington and became shit under this regime, under Jack Del Rio. Because why? The pairing does not match. You have a press man corner. You have another corner on the outside that you can't play press with for real. He'd rather play zone. It's just a whole bunch of coaching stuff that goes on. But like, I really did not understand that timeout there because we don't even know them to be an aggressive enough offense to say, oh, they really trying to get the ball back and score. Like, they're not Kansas City Chiefs. They're not most of these other NFL teams. So it was like, you're helping them score, essentially. Like, why are you stopping the clock? And then if you're going to commit to stopping the clock with 50-something seconds, stop that shit the rest of the way. You let that shit go down to fucking, 19, 18 seconds? And then you want to tell me at the end of the game, oh, we got to watch the film. Nah, dude, you just watched the whole game live in 8K. Not 4K, 8K.
8K.
You watch everything, bro. You don't need to watch the film. You should be able to tell me exactly what just happened. The same way we can get on a post-game show and tell you everything that happened, you should be able to do the same exact thing. Sean McVay can recall plays to you from 2008. And Ron is telling me he can't tell me exactly what happened in the game that he just watched live and direct. Like, nah, bro. Like, it's just poor coaching. He needs to be demoted. Like,
so speaking of demotions, Rivera had another quote that came out from his presser. Just making sure. I know y'all can hear me. Is the quality good? Because I had to change.
It's better.
Fine.
Okay, bet. So Rivera said, I think it was Scott Abraham asked if there was any panic. Oh, you know where I'm headed.
Well, I'm just laughing because Scott Abraham, he asked the tough questions.
Yeah, very direct.
He's trying to get promoted somewhere.
Yeah,
because like, ain't no local news person supposed to be asking no questions that hard like that.
But I fuck with it. Somebody need to.
I fuck with it too. But it's like, oh, my man trying to get an ESPN check or FS1 check, something.
Yeah. So he says, "Is there any panic, Rivera, for you?" And Rivera responded, "For you, maybe, Scott, but not for me. Why? Because there's plenty of football left. If we continue to work it, eventually, it eventually will change." Oh, that was a little weird quote. So Ron isn't panicked. He does think that there is a sense of urgency that's here that needs to be had, but he's not panicking. I think personally, if I had to say anything about the quote itself, I understand the response to panicking or panicking, whatever I'm not really that good with the English language, but ultimately, if you're going to be blunt or honest with your fan base, I think it starts by saying some things again about accountability. Like, sure, there's no need to panic, but I have to do better. I have to be better. I have to make sure that this team is in better positions to win. I have to coach better. I have to lead better. I have to do all these things. Like I. No more we's. Yeah. No more players. None of it. No more our staff. It's about me now. It's about me moving forward. Ron Rivera, I have to do better.
But see, I understand his answer. I'll be short. I understand his answer. He just overcame cancer last year. He got 2 years remaining on an $8 million a year salary that he gets. He probably will never be a head coach again in the NFL. People think he's a good guy around the league. Fuck is he panicking for? He's cool. He gonna collect his check. Like, he not panicking. He don't give a damn at this point. Like, they lose Thursday, it's gonna be the same fucking response, and so on.
But see, my issue is I take that a little different. It's actually a little bit more concerning to hear him say that for me, because for him to say he's not panicking, that feels like there's no pressure on him. Like, I mean, not even from the sense of, yeah, he's good regardless, but in the sense of the ownership, like is Snyder putting the pressure on him? Snyder maybe has given him like some real kind of security, like, because for him to just keep coming out and telling everybody he's not panicked and he's telling the fans, oh, it'll be okay, it'll be all right. All I see is you're content if you just get 6 wins because you're going to be here next year. Like, I mean, for you to keep saying that you feel like you have.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah, you feel like there's no hot seat for you at this point because you have some kind of security or assurance that you're going to be here regardless to quote unquote fix or turn this thing around. But he keeps telling us this in year 3. We're losing patience because, like I said, at this point, your team looks worse. Like you don't look like you're not even at this point stagnant. You're regressing in year 3. So yeah, you should be panicking because your team is still shit. I mean, it's getting and the shit is smelling worse by the year. So, but like I said, for him to say that for me, I'm concerned in the matter of he feels like he's here regardless, and he has all the time he needs to turn this thing around. And that kind of goes back to what AJ was talking about with the demotions. Like last week, Ron mentioned it. Like, I think Scott Abraham was the one that asked again, where's the urgency, or are there more moves to be made because they had benched Trey Turner last week? And Ron Rivera goes, yeah, there's going to be more moves. So then there's William Jackson's. But are these moves just coming sporadically? It's like they're just, all right, each week we'll just bench one guy or we'll just do one thing and hope this makes it or hope this turns it around. And there's just no proactiveness from this regime right now. And I have no faith that anything is going to change anytime soon.
It's like a sense of arrogance in a sense. Yeah, that's where I was getting at, Jerry, when you mentioned you did take issue with how he was responding, because it's like it's arrogant in a sense of you're not recognizing the stakes here in a sense. Like we all get it. We've been here for years. We've been here for decades. Some of us have been here for obviously longer than Ron has been alive in terms of like the fandom and understanding the situation here in Washington. And Ron is the one that's trying to convince everybody else, as long as I remain calm and as long as I tell you all I ain't got shit to worry about, why should you? We're gonna keep running into these same issues after every L. We're gonna be 1-10 and he's gonna talk about why
he's arrogant.
And why would I panic? We're gonna turn it around. We're gonna make the playoffs at 7-10.
When has he taken full accountability? Like, when has he done that? He's just arrogant. So I don't think it should speak volumes about Dan Snyder giving him a voice of confidence that he'll be returning next year. He just don't care. Like, he's just that arrogant. He just feels like things are gonna turn around. And Dre, like you said, they've regressed. Like, they don't look any better. They don't look closer to anything. They look worse. They look like top 3 worst teams in the league. And it's only going to get worse. Like, at the end of the day, it's just a situation where, maybe if they lose Thursday, maybe something changes. Maybe GameStop is like, we got to get rid of him. Because how can you really look forward to the rest of the season if you're, today made them 1-4?
Yeah, 1-4.
So if you go 1-5 in prime time, like, Thursday is gonna be horrible. Like, we thought last Thursday with the Broncos and the Colts was bad. The Bears and Commanders on national TV is going to look really bad. And if they lose that game, you can't continue with this rebrand with trotting out the same thing. You got a lot of the season left that is not gonna get turned around. Everyone else in the NFC East is winning. Like, we just seen this morning in London, the Giants went up 4-1, against the Packers.
Big W. That was a good game.
Yeah. Like, the Cowboys are playing right now against the Rams. I don't know what's going on with that game, but they've been
9-3. Cowboys.
They've been able to sustain without their starting quarterback that they paid $40 million to. And their coach is not one of the best in the league. There's nothing turned around about this. You've lost your locker room. There's nothing more that he can say in that locker room to gain those guys' attention and trust. The locker room doesn't trust Carson Wentz. A lot of them already knew who Carson Wentz was as a player, and they still gave it a chance. They gave it some hope. Now you've seen it. And I keep saying this, and some people don't like it, but really, this team should be 0-5. This team really should be 0-5.
They had several opportunities to go 0-5 against that Jaguars team. So I don't even disagree.
Yeah, they should be 0-5. You have no turnovers. Once again, no turnover. Not even a play that looked like it was potentially close to a turnover. Like, you keep getting penalties. You keep getting yourself in second and longs and first and longs. Like, you just don't look like a competitive team. Like, it's beyond Ron Rivera at this point. Like, he can't do anything. Like, even God can't step in and help him in this case. Like, it's over with. Like, at the end of the day, you know, you just gotta hope that Dan Snyder and the rest of the executives make a decision. And I hope that they possibly do it in season so that you can see how this team might maneuver with a different voice behind it, even though it'd be someone from his tree. Still, I just think that, yeah, we just got to figure this out. Like, where's the disconnect here?
So, Dre, did you have anything before I went to the chat? And also, chat, as we're waiting, actually, go ahead and get into it. If you have anything, I'll get into the chat after that.
Oh, I'm good. I spoke my piece on what I think about Ron Rivera, so we can go to the next thing.
All right, copy that. So let me go ahead and catch up with some of the comments right quick.
Hey, hold on real quick. So, Dre, so now you agree that Ron and company should be fired?
Well, yeah, I gave him a chance.
Like I told you a couple weeks ago too.
No, but what I tell AJ before, I'll give you a chance to show me that you ain't worth anything. And once you show me you ain't worth anything, I'm gonna tell you ain't worth anything. So yeah, I mean, he's showing me that, and I'm telling him that now.
Sounds, I think that's completely reasonable. I'm in the same boat in the sense of like, just show me something, but he ain't showing shit. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. Appreciate everybody checking in. As always, man, if you are new to the Trap or Die podcast, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, or follow button if you're on Twitch as well. Let's go ahead and check in with some of the comments. Chevy, appreciate you checking in. Unfortunately, Chevy has no faith. We are super trash, and that's a very valid analysis. Hulk, we got that penalty, and I honestly had a sliver of optimism that we'd win. Then in doubts by the reality of ineptitude. Yes, using your Stephen A. vernacular. But Sweat is a positive. That defensive line altogether was a positive. A defense in itself was a positive, in that they really the one big explosive play that they gave up ultimately hurt them because they end up scoring on that drive. The Tennessee Titans do, but ultimately hold your defense to. Your opposing offense to 241 total yards, 3.9 yards a play. Against a team that you really should have held them to that amount, given who you were up against. Injured offensive line. They only really had one receiver threat in Robert Woods. He's a little bit past his prime, and then obviously Derrick Henry, who ate for the most part 105 yards on the ground in terms of team rush offense for the Titans, but ultimately a good day for the defense in terms of just limiting the Titans team. Okay, who else do we have? Rob, appreciate you checking in. They would rather play the guys who's bad instead of admitting that they were wrong. Milne is a prime example. Yes, get him off the field. Rich, appreciate you checking in. Mrs. The Morning Show will be back this week. Alex, hopefully my mic is fixed. AJ got me hip as well. Rich said, what lies are Ron going to come up with this week? Excuses, Ron. I think we've seen some good things. I really do. We killed ourselves with penalties. We had a chance, but we didn't capitalize. And to be honest with you, I think, and let me finish out with a couple more here. My bad. Kenneth said the fact that they didn't run the ball on the 2-yard line is mind blowing. Me and AJ got into that one. AJ said that they could have ran it. I disagreed. I didn't think that they could with no timeouts, which is actually partially their own doing heading into that that red zone situation, that goal-to-go situation. So we were splitting hairs on that one. Kenneth, you believe that they could have ran the ball. And then run game non-existent. If we don't run the ball well enough, this team's just doing itself a disservice. One on Roger, appreciate you checking in as well. I think there were some positives that came out of this game in terms of personal or player performances. Obviously, the defense, like we just spoke on, Montez Sweat waking up and taking advantage of and getting home against the tackles and some of the tackles that he played against the Tennessee Titans. And obviously, when you have De'Ami Brown, we spoke on him when the game when the show just started, having his two explosive plays. He had a couple firsts in this game. I think it was his first 100-yard performance, first career touchdown, first career 2-score game, 2 catches, 2 touchdowns. That was really good for De'Ami. He stepped up in a big way for Jahan Dotson. So it's good to see him keep his head after all the rough narratives after the preseason for him. I would say Cole Turner could have had a better game, but there were some opportunities where Carson Wentz missed him. especially on third down situations too. I think actually it was a big fourth down, the first one that they tried to attempt, and Carson Wentz wasn't able to see Cole Turner one-on-one where he won it against press coverage, and got upfield on the defender. Rough situation, I guess. But like I said, Cole Turner could have had some more opportunities, but they missed him. Is there anything else that we want to cover? That's like some high level or important things. We talked on Ron. Carson, I think, continues to kind of show us that this is a 1-year rental situation, and I think that's another detriment on Ron Rivera, who continues to fail in acquiring that oh so elusive quarterback that stabilizes the team. Where else are we at with this team after this fourth straight loss?
I mean,
offensive line with Andrew Norwell, my bad.
Yeah.
Like two very bad drives back to back for him. Worst pass, like bull rush, you're too high, you have no contact with the ground, you get put on your ass, and then the next drive you get so nervous that you got put on your ass that you had a false start on first down, allowed a sack on second down, all after a roughing the passer kept the drive alive. I hand the floor back to you, AJ. But yeah, Andrew Norwell, that was poor. Where you at?
I mean, they suck. Like I said to you before we got on air, Ron Rivera has said that the Titans, every time Brian Robinson was in there, they teed off on him. No shit. Don't expect them to be involved in the passing game. You haven't shown. I mean, can't even say you haven't shown. They just know, just scouting report wise. Even back in Alabama, he wasn't really involved in the passing game. So every time you bring him in, the key in on a run play. And I just feel like in this game, for some reason, they were so dependent on him breaking a big run possibly. And it's like, do y'all not remember that this man got shot? Like, he hasn't even really got hit yet, like, ever since the incident. But now you want to rely on him heavily? Like you said, they had 41 rushing yards for the whole game. Antonio Gibson only had 6 yards. Like, you didn't even make an attempt to really run the ball consistently. I just feel like they all over the place. I don't know, and it's weird because I've been in spaces earlier in the week where, like, one of the more popular guys in the Commanders space, Arch, is trying to tell me about the Air Coryell system, but they don't have no real scheme.
Arch is a character.
Yeah, Washington has no real scheme. So I don't want to hear anything about no Air Coryell. I don't want to hear about North Turner. I don't want to hear about Dan Turner. I don't want to hear about Pete Turner, Scott Turner. I don't want to hear about no Turners, Zampezis, Coryells, none of them people, because ain't none of them coming to help Scott Turner do his job, because he is doing a poor job at it. Like, at this point, he might want to just get an AirPod like what we use to record this show and have his dad in his ear and help him figure out what plays to call during the game, because no matter if you put that man on the sideline, up in the booth, in the car, on Madden, whatever, he's still calling bad plays. Like, he is who he is. That is the tagline for today. He is who he is, and that can go for a lot of he's on this team.
Dre, any closing items that we need to touch on? Like I say, I know we touched on a lot of high level with the coaches, and but yeah, if you got anything else, player, coach, team, organization, because this was another organizational loss too. We didn't even touch on that. Like, this is organization. It's not. I mean, when I say organization, to be clear, I'm talking about everything excluding owner level. Like, this is the coach centric organizational loss for me.
No, I agree. And that's why I was going to go with my point at this point. I want to see where Ron, or if Ron ever gets to this point, if this team keeps going down the path that they're going, when does Ron, the GM, now this is Ron, I mean, even though, he got Marty and then Martin to make the personnel decision, but Ron is the final say. When does he say we have to bench Carson Wentz to keep and protect that second round pick next year? Especially when you keep losing, that's going to be a high second round pick you know. So we're looking at the first round pick when we talk about tanking and whatnot, but now we're talking about a high second round pick that you might be shipping off to the coach. And this is where if you are a good GM, you know, separated from being a coach, you looking out for the future of your team at this point. So when does Ron get to that point before Carson reaches that threshold where you have to give up that second round pick? Where does Ron come in and say, all right, we have to make a decision for our future here. We're not winning with this guy. My experiment failed. I have to admit that now. Now, if Ron doesn't admit that, that's going to be a bigger indictment on him to say, this guy at this point is only looking out for self. He's sacrificing everything for a couple of little wins to make himself look a little better at the end of the day. And then he's going to be right back in here next year or whatever. I mean, I guess that's his thought process. But when he comes in next year, he's putting himself back behind the 8 ball again because he lost out on a big time second round pick. And then you probably still don't have a quarterback. Because, I mean, if this season's going down the path you're going down, you can't bring Carson back here next year, you know, especially with a high cap number. So when does Ron look at this team and say, hey, I got to make the decision for this team's future. This isn't working. I have to admit that I was wrong. Carson has to sit. That's where I'm at right now. And I wonder how long that's going to take Ron before they reach that threshold.
Dre, valid point. I think, well, let me ask you all, what would be an ideal time like to make a switch for you all? Is this like short week or is this or is this like the 10-day window after the Bears game? Like what's the ideal time to make a switch? And are you going to Heineke or are you going to Howe? Like what's your, because I said this, I don't remember where I said this. I may have said this on Hogs Haven. I think for right now, Sam Howell is Vince Young and Ron Rivera is goddamn Jeff Fisher. Like that's the only thing that can save Ron Rivera is if Sam Howell comes out here and looks like a goddamn all-star quarterback and reels off 6 straight dubs and he got a reason to walk around with his chest puffed out now because hey, I made that pick.
Exactly.
I made that pick, bro. So
exactly.
Where y'all at? When is the time? When is the right time? And who should it be, Heineke or Howe?
Well, I'll go ahead and answer real quick. Realistically, I would start looking around week 8. I would probably say, hey, if things don't look like it's turning around by week 8, I think you still would be safe with the threshold by then. You go week 8 and you say, all right, this is when I make the decision. And when you do make that decision, you absolutely have to go to Howe because Howe is Ron's only key or ticket at that point. And by that, I mean, you know, if Heineke comes in, you know, Heineke maybe wins you a couple of games, but he doesn't get you to the playoffs. He gets you maybe 6 wins at best or something like that. That's not enough to justify saying Ron can come back and, you know, pick another quarterback or whatever the case you need to be. No, he has to play Sam Howell. Sam Howell, if everything goes off rails or continues the way it's going, Sam Howell to me is Ron Rivera's only ticket left in this building. And that means that if Sam Howell does look good, you know, to your point, Jamal, maybe he comes in, he reels off a few big wins and he shows he's worthy of coming back as a quarterback. Then Ron can go in the next year saying, oh, we have something in this Sam Howell guy. He's a young guy. Maybe he is our franchise guy. So if you are making that benching move with Carson Wentz, it has to be going to your rookie developmental quarterback and hope that he shows enough for you to, you know, warrant bringing you back for another year.
Okay. AJ, you good to go? When is the real time? Unless you're sticking with tonight, but also who would you go with? Howell or Heineke?
Yeah, I never want to see Taylor Heineke play another game of football in my life. So, you know, I know that's Dre's son. I'm surprised he didn't stand up for him to get that opportunity.
I'm realistic, AJ. I'm gonna keep it real at all times.
Well, I mean that's good to know that you don't show favoritism towards your kids. But yeah, I never want to see Taylor Heineke play another game of football in my life. If I even see somebody on Madden play with Taylor Heineke, bro, I quit the game immediately. I'll just concede defeat. So for me, I think the main thing is just maintaining that pick only being a third. And I don't even think that's a call that you can leave up to Ron Rivera to do. I feel like he's too arrogant. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we good.
Yeah. I feel like he's too arrogant that he will die on that hill for Carson Wentz because that's the trade that he committed to. I feel like this got to come from the ownership. Like, we got to get him out of here before this pick ends up being elevated from a third to a second. Whether you stay or you don't, there's no way in hell that we should lose a top 5 second-round pick due to our stubbornness in keeping Carson Wentz in the mix. So for me, I would put him out there after this Thursday game. If you want me to be honest, yeah, just because it's more time. I think that he needs to start playing. And if you lose Thursday, there's no turning around of your season at all. I already don't anticipate a turnaround, especially when the next team winning record is what, 3-1. That might be 4-1 by the end of today. Like, you're way behind the ball game in your own division. I just think that you need to protect that second round pick as much as you can, and you cannot leave that in the hands of Ron Rivera. And that might be something that leads to him getting fired in advance, because there's no way in hell you can allow that to go from a third round pick to a second just because you want to force your agenda with Carson Wentz. And I'm surprised that they haven't even had Howell active for one of the games yet this year. But yeah, I'm not trying to see Taylor Heineke ever again in my life.
But that's how you get a GM. But just real quick, I was going to say, AJ, to your point, like, and this, what I brought up as well, if Ron is too arrogant to make that move, like, damn the coaching part. That's how a GM gets fired. And he is, the end all be all within the, organizational structure right now. So if he doesn't make that call and you're still just floating around bad, and then you end up, you're probably 3-10 or 3-11 by week 14, week 15. And now you want to make a decision, but it's too late now. This team's giving up a high draft pick, and you're not going to give Sam Howell enough time to evaluate. That's enough to get a GM fired. And Ron is that in person right now. He's that end user right now. He would get fired off of that alone. So that goes with Ron, the coach, as well.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with it. I just think that it's like, what is Carson Wentz bringing to the table that Sam Howell can't do? You feel me? And even at this point, for whatever reason it is with Carson Wentz, he does not look athletic at all. Even last year, he looked a bit more athletic with the Colts, but he's not really moving around well at all. Like, even when he gets outside the pocket, he's so stupid football intelligence-wise. He don't even throw the ball away. He'll take the sack.
That was weird. Like, he was clearly not outrunning
right.
The D tackle. I forgot his name. Forgot who it was. But you're clearly not outrunning him. Just throw the ball away. Like, you don't have to take a sack. You don't even have to take a hit. Like, that hit could have gone bad. Like, just throw it away. You're not outrunning him.
And you're missing guys high. So it's like, you might as well bring in Sam Howell, because that might, if you really feel like you still got your foot in the game, you might as well get some energy from somewhere and let Sam Howell start throwing the ball around, running, being kind of elusive in and out the pocket. Maybe he has better pocket presence than Carson at this point. But you need to get some type of spark back to your team. Like, if you really, truly feel that you can turn this around, Carson Wentz is not the guy. Sam Howell, at this point, if you lose Thursday, man, yeah, you got to start thinking about putting him in the mix.
And one more thing, I know the offensive line, recently, that's been the big talk of everything. I actually thought they looked better today. I thought they gave Carson a much better chance today. And that's been one of the things people have been hesitant about playing Sam Howell. They didn't want to put him behind this offensive line. But if they're playing at least like today, I mean, you're giving Sam Howell a pretty decent chance to at least be able to evaluate him. So, hopefully they continue that play.
Yeah, next thing, they got to learn how to be more efficient in the run game. Whether it's because I don't know what it's going to look like on tape in terms of 14 attempts is malpractice regardless. So let me be clear with that one. But in terms of like the 14 actual attempts, because it looked like there was a lot that wasn't there. So I want to know what exactly didn't work. Mm-hmm. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. 14 attempts again, that's malpractice. You can't have that. Okay, so last thing we'll get out here, just clean up on the comments. If we don't, Rich said actually a couple things. Rich started off, I can't believe we can't script getting Terry the ball more. Rob said they can't let, the same thing that AJ just mentioned, Rob. They can't let Carson roll over that 70%. Also want zero part of Taylor accidentally winning games. If we don't beat Chicago, Rich said, Got to see what Howell can do with the first team. Our offense looked like my boom box that I play music in 2022, outdated. Hawk said. And then Rob said if we were to offer a trade from our pick in the third round to suppose second, the value is roughly worth a second. A complete front office ineptitude. And Roger mentioned nothing will change until the play caller changes his philosophy into a run first team. What QB has looked good in this pass first offense? None. But also you got to ask, what do you? First of all, do you believe that Scott Turner is capable of thinking that he's capable of changing his philosophy? Like he only knows what he knows, and that's a problem, like in a bad way, in my opinion. If you can't adapt, if you can't recognize the need to adapt and know what you can do better, then you're going to continue to struggle because you know that you're figured out, but you don't have a solution to countering it. So it is what it is, man. Okay, so fellas, it's been a pleasure for this hour. I hate the fact that we had to talk about an embarrassment like this, but the train keeps moving. We are back on Tuesday. We have a mix in terms of we're going to clean up the last bits and bits of whatever coming out from the Titans Commanders, and then we'll focus on the Chicago Bears game as well. Schedule wise for me, everybody in the chat, appreciate y'all listening, watching, all that good stuff. The Commanders Morning Show will be back tomorrow. Be back this entire week. So that's that on that. But yeah, man, enjoy y'all Sunday. Enjoy the rest of y'all Sunday. Watch some good football. You know what I'm saying? There's 3 games on right now, and then we got the Sunday nighter Bengals and Ravens. You got any money on that game, Dre?
Probably. I only got one. I'm waiting. I got some action on this Rams Cowboys game, so hopefully that comes through for me. So
all right. I'm not going to say nothing out loud in terms of hoping that we're on the same side. I got money on that game too, so yeah. I'll be quiet. Best of luck to you. Best of luck to you, and AJ. Good luck on your 100 team parlay.
Hey man, ain't no parlays over here.
AJ trying to hit jackpot.
Ain't nothing over here.
But all right, that's going to wrap it up for us, man. Y'all be safe. Enjoy y'all day. Enjoy the rest of y'all Sunday. All that good stuff. Peace.